What's going on, YouTube? Time for another recap. So, another amazing day here. We'll start off at the Twitter like always. I said there's a nice short setting up, plans in motion. And if you know our live stream and our chat, I like to draw these pretty pictures for our group. And short range under orange and fib down, GP no tag green. So the entirety of the short was drawn out here. Best case entry in the orange, 533.68, short 2. 5:31:56, and again we timestamp that at 9:34 a.m. as these cannot be edited after an hour. It is not edited. It is called way before it happened, as always. Into the Discord, same exact thing. All morning we broke down where some algo hits were going to be today. 601.79. We broke down the volatility index on the way to 1650, and we also predicted the news. Yes, the data. So excuse me, in this instance, right here, notice I put the long right here at 60.69 into about 60.87, right? That was the long for the news because we had a whole bunch of algo disruption to fill on the top of ES, okay? And I'll get into some of those trades right here. I'm not going to tell you exactly how I got them because that would just be unfair to my premium group. But we also called the data. We called this pop right here. So you know me in first tags, right? So when we get into this high-low range, and I talk about this a lot. Let me delete some of these intra mini dudes. There we go. So this was the call that was on before data. Okay, we have PPI data today. So we had the high-low range of this interesting little algo candle back here. I don't know why this thing always comes over here in the way. Yeah, I see it. Thanks for the giant arrow. Hey, 5th time's a charm to move. All right. So high-low right here, 5:45 a.m. This little algo guy was made. So that was a really good high-low range for Fibonacci sequence. And as long as we held 60.65, we were going to pop up into the algos. So I have a bunch of disruptions, double gap openings, and a whole bunch of stuff I planned for the data to go long from the golden pocket up to the data top where all needed fill. These are all first tag fills, all these dashed white lines. So I teach algo systems that even through data, just like the CPI in the last video, we can predict which way it goes if you understand algorithms and which way they're going. So we had a really good 60.65 support. In Top Step today, we didn't want to trade through the data or anything like that because we want to respect the rules and all the good stuff. So you see our 4 Express accounts, our brand new ones. We're going to get live on these. I can feel it. I can feel it. 2,200, 2,300, all across the board, all linked. We scalped a bunch of micros today. And when we're building these accounts up to have that fluff in there prior to payout, after you pay yourself a little bit out, you want to only trade those micros. Top Step's one of the only things too, as far as no rules are concerned, where they don't do it like Apex, where they just nonchalantly have a laundry list of rules they enforce just to not pay you out. So you can switch from NQ to MNQ in, you don't want to trade through data, but each setup pending conviction, right, is going to require either an NQ high-low, max position size, not max position size, MNQs to start, let the position build because your confidence level on that trade could differ. Top Step just lets you be a trader, man. They really do. So super stoked to be trading with them still. And as we move into the rest of the call day, I can't really get into how I call this, but as you've seen in the timestamp, I said exactly where the entry exit was going, and that was from this golden pocket. So I knew it was going to come up here and fill these algo plays. So wish I could get into for you guys, but we're not. I will get into another one that I left for my chat though. So when I left today, we had this big old gnarly throw up here from the PPI, right? So on the data candles here, I love to fib these out. And we worry about back test. Let's go to here. Bam. Bam. Alrighty, so the opening morning drive for QQQ and here. I'm going to go to the 1-minute chart. We did the 5-minute high-low here of the data candle. And on the 1-minute chart, we're going to show you what we look for. So I called a pop to short day for us and then down to the GP. QQQ respected it, but really high right here in the pop to drop, but perfectly fine. We picked the top anyway. So we got in on that rejection candle. You notice that really low rejection candle low, smashed right into the GP. Again, the golden pocket of the high-low 5-minute Fibonacci range. And that obviously is right here, right? So that golden pocket for the high-low Fibonacci retracement is right here between that 38.20 and that 61.8. and we assumed we were going to get a short back into that GP. Now, there's a hidden candle in here for my students. They know exactly what I was looking for and why it was coming right back down here. We're not going to get into that one on stream here either for free, but it was a doozy of a short. Let's get into the last call I made for my chat so you guys can see my thought process here as well. So before I got off my stream, I seen all this unnatural force up, and I said, wait for this 3 up to be done. We're almost done with the long. We're going to, Jesus, get in here. For the short and the long, we have a 3 up. So things come in threes in the market, right? And if you're looking at this as a big driver here, you could see this 1 push, 2 push, 3 push. Now this last leg was kind of there. So what I did is I kind of just assumed this whole leg was a push, this whole leg was a push, and this third leg was a push. Now that comes to stand where this little zone here had a little chop back and forth, but high volatility open, high volume open. I'm not going to hate the market on. I'm not going to hate too much here. It is still a fresh low into a higher high. Okay. So I'm going to count this whole move as 1 fresh low into higher high. Okay. That's why that is 1 move, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Then we had this beautiful reversal off the VWAP and the dash purple and the 100 EMA. But what I'm going to talk about is before I left my chat, I made a little micro green right here. And I said, guys, we're going to go long micro right here to come back and fill an imbalance Fibonacci zone that I've created on my new system. It's going to come up to 534.28, and then it's going to drop. That's what I drew out. And then I wrote this little thing here for my group, and it says, after 10:30 a.m. Central, look to be under the 5-minute 10 SMA, short to 531.56. Okay, this is obviously way before it happened. We got the timestamps in chat like always because we predict this stuff before it happens. So let's take a look. Price action came up. Whoop, look at that little red candle. Ding. Exactly into the green target I drew right here. So let's delete that and delete that. And then I drew this giant red nonsense candle, and I said, that's your short zone. And then I gave them 2 outlooks to my chat. I said, once we get under the 1618, once we get under the 5-minute 10 SMA, and we will see a really nice resistance structure here all the way down to, as it says, before it even happened, 531.56. Okay, you see my drawing right here? Bam, bam. I even gave the green target right here. That's what we do here. Anything under the orange zone. And then I drew a second zone because this was all short by a zone. But then I said, if you guys want to be super safe in the short, I'll give you the golden zone. Go short under 533.63 right here and take it right down to the 100 fib. Don't wait for the golden pocket down here. This is the safe one, okay? So the full range of the top pick I called right here because that was the candle that hit it. And I said it was going to reject that green zone down to golden pocket was almost 120 points, just shy of 110 points there. So yeah, that's a huge dump right there on NQ if you're playing that. So as we stretch it out and see what happened, well, lo and behold, I'm not going to tell you why I fibbed this out because that's for my premium group. But like I said, it was going to come to 531.56. Okay. And that was the top of the GP right here. So if I put a marker right there, look to your right, boom. Okay. And then that's obviously where it found support. I understand these algorithms a little better than everybody else on YouTube, in my opinion. And we call these things day in, day out. Check out the X at Garage Trader 33 if you want to. Links in the description for the X there. And I post some of these trades for free, like you always see in the beginning of the video. And we try to help out the communities. And if you ever want to join us, links in the description to learn how to do these algos day in, day out. We do this live. So let's look what happened the rest of the day. So I was still looking for upside, okay? And why were we doing that? Well, we had the opening range dump. I wanted to get to yesterday's highs for the gap fill, which means QQQ, again, in pre-market, started here at the open. Yesterday's highs is right here. That means gap up, right? So live trading in the black, pre-market in the gray. It pushes up, finds pre-market high, big failure rate right down to yesterday's highs. That was the end of the short. We killed that one. If we look at the daily chart and why we continued to look for that long move, remember the golden fibby, okay? Now in my last 5 videos, if you guys have been following along here, let's go to a little less busy chart. I'll redraw it for you guys one more time here. We were looking for, oh, that's not the one. We were looking for 2, remember, algo magnets, and we had some opportunity to find multiple magnets on the daily chart and which way this was going to pull, right, from last week. And these were the candles here and here. Now, the interesting thing is the no GP tag candle down here is still in play because if we do a fib high low, the 50% retracement, the 516, right? The price action was either going to go to 516 and then up, or it was going to run right to this candle's GP and fail and then catch support at that GP and go. So if we draw a fib here at the candle we've been talking about for over a week and a half now. To the upside, again, it has no GP tag, okay? But look what it does have. Continuation above holds the 100 fib to the T, goes right to the 1618, tries the breakout, matches the gap up candle. Now remember, there's a gap between right here at 131 and 23. These candle gaps on the daily, that means this candle and this candle are very important, okay? So after highs were matched on a gap candle, algo shoot down, okay? Here's where it gets interesting. This candle right here, we can never go short or low biased unless we're under 520.87 and coming back to the golden pocket. So we would have needed the candle to open up pretty low yesterday, right? And then break through that 100 to continue to the GP target, which if we're not under 520.87, we're not looking to the downside. Simple as that. The Fibonacci high-low of this lower gap candle will continue that pressure up. RSI says so, MACD says so, VIX says so. Let's look at the intraday with only one fib, okay? So we, not today, but yesterday we had that harsh CPI report, right? And generally speaking, I like to high-low it, as we have discussed a million times here in the fib. So I take that high-low. Now we're going to match up these two fibs, CPI high-low and the daily. And we're going to look where that matches up. Here's the CPI. Let's change that like neon purple so we can see. Let's just do green, neon green. There we go. So CPI is in the neon green, and most importantly, that candle we just talked about on that lower, 1618 is at 526.91, which means if the CPI holds above, and again, this is all fibs, anything above the 100 fib, right? Because this is the CPI's top, we are moving to, you guessed it, the 1618 as always. So this becomes your over-under, right? So yesterday's highs, this was the really big over-under move for the day. This is how we teach, right? Directional sense. So the first tag, and you hear me say that in all my videos, take a look at the last 10 and my live streams for Saturdays where we teach you this stuff. Come on board and check it out. I promise you'll learn something great. First tag metrics. Now, PPI is right there. I'm not even going to worry about the PPI short that we called from the top to the bottom before it happened in our chat, but we're just going to focus on the daily, okay? 529.21. That is our over-under. This is the first tag, right? Say it with me. Price action opens up. First tag into it, which means the over-under, which is always purple in my chat where we draw on the screen. So we have an idea of what's going on. That first tag of support, which was yesterday's highs, closes the gap, right? Because a common gap occurred. We opened up here, which is over yesterday's highs. So on the daily chart, we got a gap right here. But we did not assume the gap was going to hold. I called a push out of the gate, slam. That's exactly what happened right on the QQQ. SPY was a little lazier, but I picked Qs for the pop to short today. And then we wanted to run it back up, okay? And then we had a 533.66 call because anything above yesterday's fib, right? Or in this case, the CPI, which is the same thing, because if you would have used yesterday's highs, same thing, right? Fibby. So anything over yesterday's highs or the CPI was going to continue. And the extension magnet that it had was the 1618. Now, what else do we have? The last call I said, well, shit, we might even push all the way up to 536.68, chat. Look how close we got. But where did we get that level? Remember the magic no GP tag, right? So not only did we call tons of intraday scalping, we had a beautiful prediction of the short later on. We gave you the timestamp, we gave you the under moving average and the target, especially in the Discord. Check my timestamps on X too. We call this way before, no edits, no bullshit. And as you come into that daily, now remember, we just drew this daily down here. That was the magical gap candle. Important candle 1, important candle 2, no GP, which means we're going to magnet to the extensions, right? So anything above the 100 fib right here is going to push above the 1618 and target, you guessed it, 2618. That's the magnet, which means the next day just becomes the over-under for price action. That's it. So if you would have fibbed out the high-low like we pretty much have here, the high-low is pretty much CPI. You can see the whole CPI candle right here. We didn't fib out high-low of yesterday. We fibbed out CPI. Okay, remember that. Look how close that is. It's damn near perfect to the low. So an over-under becomes 529.21. So if we hold yesterday's highs, whoop, we go right to the 1618 because the extension here, and what I do in my chat, I draw it like this. And I'm like, all right, guys, we do this. It's either going to hold this and go here, and I draw these pretty pictures for the chat, or we're going to stay into that hundo, and we're going to head down to the GP. This is what I drew. We had a bunch of different instances here, and we always update minute by minute as we go through. And this is what it will look like on a very basic setup for us. So We got to go to the 30 so we can see these right here. But if we would have came underneath here, right, under the 100, we would have came to the golden pocket. But any price action holding above it was going to go to the 1618. That's simple. So if any of this sounds fun and you want to see some of these predictions play out live, I live stream every day. You can come listen to me blab and blab and blab all day about the markets. Not all day. We do the whole morning session until about 10 a.m. Central. But we're on in pre-market. We're chatting and typing and in the Discord chat, making calls, plays, notes, and journals all morning from about 4:35 a.m. all the way till about 10 a.m. So if any of that sounds good, pop in the chat. Links in the description. If not, hey, we'll see you on the next YouTube video. Thanks for tuning in.